Bhagavakule Dawa Nanugedo Nazagoda Madre Gazi Yena Wenyu Bre Uba Wedio Dukino Wakimino Hundu Dada Bundu Duki Dada Yegezi Bana Buddha Didava Tavara Vadava Igawa Yuva Manda Miti Maradaga Nugatula Idawa Yiva Adida Yiva Dure Vadanti Avi Dure Buddha Vadamedi Vadava Dada Bundu Duki Dada Nabra Brani Gopeta Nadi Minye Dagada Sinakinsi Yarodana Brigadinya Ninya Minyada Duga Mizya Madaya Daniya Buddha Mayuda Eka Buddha Manuraki Yomi Daba Buddha Dumananda Bhavaye Abrimana Midin Sadava Lokadami Manada Bhavaye Abrimana Oda Adosa Diriyansa Adambada Aviramada Bada Deda Zarani Deno Vadyano Yavadada Vidamido Idanda Deda Heya Brahma Meda Viharamida Mahu Dede Sanubaga Madila Dadnena Dambano Kamidu Vinya Gida Naiza Duga Vadia Bunaredi Sabi Sandya Sabi Bana Sabi Buddha Sabi Bogala Sabi Adabha Vabriya Banam Sava Idiyo Sabi Purisa Sabi Ariya Sabi Nariya Sabi Deva Sabi Manosa Sabe Winibadika Awira Hundu Avya Beja Hundu Aniga Hundu Zukyadana Briharandu Tuga Mochandu Yada Lada Sambadido Mavi Chandu Gamasaka Buradi Maya Disaya Bisi Maya Disaya Udraya Disaya Dakinaya Disaya Purani Maya Nudisaya Bishimaya Nudisaya Udraya Nudisaya Dakinaya Nudisaya Idi Maya Disaya Ubri Maya Disaya Sabi Sada Sabi Banam Sabi Buddha Sabi Bogala Sabi Adabha Vabriya Banam Sava Idiyo Sabi Burisa Sabi Riya Sabi Nariya Sabi Deva Sabi Manosa Sabi Winibadika Avira Hundu Avya Bija Hundu Aniga Hundu Sukhi Adana Briharandu Tuga Mukhandu Yada Lada Sambadido Mavi Gejandu Kamasakam Udayava Bwekaja Doyava Avijido Sumanda Jagavale Suyesada Batawijara Avya Bijani Vera Jani Roga Janupadwa Udayava Bwega Jadoyava Avijido Sumanda Jagavale Suyesada Udagejara Avya Bijani Vera Jani Roga Janupadwa Udayava Bhega Jadoyava Avijido Samanda Jagavali Suyesada Agasi Jara Avya Bijani Vera Jani Yoga Janupadvam Yambanda Kusala Dasa Anubhavena Bandino Sabi Sadama Raja Sa Nyadavadama Sukhavaham Abunandu Visaudaya Sukhaya Pradipadiya Asoka Manubaya Sanibana Sukha Moddhamam Jira Dededu Sadamo Dhami Hundu Sakarawa Sabimi Sadakalina Samadhiyo Bahusadu Yada Rakisu Morana Surajano Tathewima
Vandami Bhante. Vandami Bhante, can you hear us? Can Bhante hear us? Vandami Bhante. Sahabat Dhamma, mohon menunggu sebentar. Kami masih menunggu koneksi atau sambungan dengan Bhante. Pandami Bante. Apologies. I think we can't hear Bante's voice.
වගේ සද්ද හෙන්නේ නැලුවා.
Okay, yeah, okay, we can now.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, Mandami Bante, please allow us to start today's session and pay respect to Bante 3 times. Sahabat Dhamma, mari kita memberi penghormatan ke Bhikkhu Watagoda Maggavihārī dengan bersikap anjali dan membungkukkan badan sebanyak 3 kali. Selamat malam sahabat Dhamma yang berbahagia, Suki Hotu Namo Buddhaya. Semoga sahabat Dhamma selalu sehat dan bahagia. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Nama saya Sania yang akan memandu kegiatan malam ini. Sungguh berbahagia kita semua mendapatkan kesempatan yang baik sekali untuk mengikuti sesi Dhamma Talk yang dibawakan oleh Bhikkhu Watagoda Maggavihārī dengan judul Pāramī, Fulfilling Perfections to Attain Liberation Part 8 atau memenuhi penyempurnaan untuk mencapai pembebasan bagian ke-8. Sebelum kita mulai sesi ini, mari kita bersikap anjali dan membacakan permohonan 5 sila bersama-sama. Good evening, Wandami Bante. Before we start today's session, we would like to request for 5 precepts.
Sure.
Aham Bante, tisaranena saha, panca silam, dhammam yacami, anugaham katwa, silam detha, me Bante. Dutiyampi aham Bante tisaranena saha panca silam dhammam yacami anugaham katwa silam detha me Bante. Tatiyampi aham Bante tisaranena saha panca silam dhammam yacami anugaham katwa silam detha me Bante.
යමහං වදාමි තං වදේත.
Nama Bante.
නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
Buddhang saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, dutiyampi dhamman saranang gacchami, dutiyampi sanghan saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami, dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami, dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, tatiyampi dhamman saranang gacchami, tatiyampi sanghan saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami, tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami, tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Saranaгаmanang sampunnang
Ama Bante.
ආනාති පාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
Anatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
Kamesu micacara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Suramēraya majjapamā daṭṭānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi.
Surameraya Majapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami.
Sabbhe sattā avērā hontu.
Sabbe satta avera hontu.
Abhyapajjā hontu.
Abhyapaja hontu.
Anīghā hontu.
Anigha hontu.
Sukhe attānaṁ pariharantu.
Sukhi attanam pariharantu.
Dukkha muccantu.
Dukkha muccantu.
Yatā laddha sampattito mā vigaccantu kammassakā.
Yatha ladha sampatito ma vigachantu kamasaka.
Tisaranena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammaṃ sādhukaṃ surakkhitāṃ katmā appamādena sampādē tabbang.
Amma bhante sadhu sadhu sadhu. Sahabat Dhamma, mari kita bersikap hormat dan penuh perhatian saat mendengarkan penjelasan yang akan disampaikan oleh Bhikkhu Watagoda Maggavihārī dan diterjemahkan oleh Brother Adiansyah. Bhante, we would like to invite Bhante to kindly start the Dhamma talk now.
Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to continue the fulfilling of Pāramī, part number 8.
Selamat malam semua. Kita kembali akan melanjutkan kelas Fulfilling Pāramī bagian ke-8.
So during this course, like during this series, we have been discussing the main topics such as what is Pāramī, what is the word formation of Pāramī, what does it mean. Then we also discuss how Pāramī is helpful for the attainment of liberation, what sort of mindset that one should have in order to fulfill Pāramī, especially aiming the threefold Bodhi, Samma Sambuddhahood, Pacceka Buddhahood, and Asavaka Buddhahood. And then how, what sort of reflections that one should have in order to fulfill, in order to successfully fulfill Pāramī. And then we moved into explain what is Dana Pāramī. So in the previous lectures, few lectures we discussed how Dana Pāramī should be fulfilled.
Jadi dalam beberapa kelas sebelumnya kita sudah membahas tentang apa itu Pāramī, makna secara kalimatnya atau makna katanya, lalu bagaimana Pāramī ini harus dikembangkan untuk atau bisa membantu untuk mencapai pembebasan. Lalu mindset seperti apa yang diperlukan untuk pemenuhan Pāramī terkait dengan 3 macam bodhi, yaitu sawaka, lalu pacceka, dan juga sebagai sama Sambuddha. Lalu perenungan seperti apa yang harus dimiliki oleh seseorang yang ingin mengembangkan Pāramī. Juga dalam beberapa pertemuan kemarin kita sudah membahas cukup detail tentang Dana Pāramī.
Right. So we also discuss how Dana Pāramī should be done, what kind of attitude, what kind of mentality that we should possess in order to fulfill a good type of a Dana Pāramī. So today we are going to discuss mainly about some classifications about Dana Pāramī. So Dana Pāramī is sometimes 4-fold and sometimes 6-fold based on 2 different aspects. First we'll study how Dana Pāramī, like how Dana is 6-fold based on Abhidhamma explanations.
Jadi kita juga sudah membahas tentang bagaimana Dana Pāramī dilakukan dan juga sikap batin seperti apa yang perlu dimiliki dalam pengembangan Dana Pāramī. Pada kesempatan kali ini kita akan membahas klasifikasi daripada Dana Pāramī, yaitu klasifikasi menjadi 6 macam dan menjadi 4 macam. Pertama kita akan membahas klasifikasi 6 macam menurut Abhidhamma.
Right. So in terms of Abhidhamma explanation, Dana is 6-fold as Rupa Dana, Saddha Dana, Gandha Dana, Rasa Dana, and Pottabba Dana. Pottabba Dana and Dhamma Dana, based on the 6 types of objects that we offer.
Nah, jadi berdasarkan Abhidhamma, maka dana itu terbagi dalam 6, yaitu pertama adalah rupa, sada, ganda, jiwa, dan kaya,
Rasa.
ganda rasa ya. Oke,
Pottabba.
berdasarkan 6 jenis alat indera.
Yeah. So 6 types of objects based on the object, right? Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, Pottabba, and Dhamma. So what is Rupa Dana here? Rupa Dana means offering something that is very beautiful, very attractive. That is called Rupa Dana.
Jadi apa yang dimaksud dengan rupa dana, yaitu adalah mendanakan sesuatu yang memiliki sifat keindahan.
Yeah. For example, if you offer a very colorful flowers to someone, maybe to a monk or maybe to the Buddha, Dhamma Sangha, whatever, a colorful robe, a very attractive colored cloth. Sometimes we offer paints to the monastery in order to paint the buildings. So likewise, these types of offerings are called Rupa Dana. Also we can call it Varna Dana, Rupa Dana. When given to lay people, if someone offers some sort of medicine or we call cosmetics, which make someone's skin more brighter as a gift, for instance, these all includes into Rupa Dana. So Rupa Dana means offering something which has a good color, attractive appearance, or something which is helpful to develop one's attraction. So these are all called Rupa Dana.
Jadi rupa dana pertama adalah mempersembahkan, memberikan sesuatu yang indah, seperti misalnya bunga yang indah kepada Bhikkhu atau kepada Sangha, kepada Buddha, jubah yang berwarna, lalu juga cat misalnya untuk mengecat wihara misalnya. Jadi pemberian-pemberian ini disebut sebagai rupa dana atau biasa disebut sebagai juga bisa dengan warna dana gitu. Di sisi lain, pemberian yang bisa meningkatkan keindahan, attractiveness daripada seseorang, itu juga disebut sebagai rupa dana. Misalnya memberikan obat atau kosmetik yang membuat kulit seseorang misalnya menjadi sehat, menjadi lebih cerah, ini juga disebut sebagai rupa dana.
Right. Then Saddha Dana. Saddha Dana is something very not very often given. Saddha Dana means playing beautiful music for the sake of, as a sake of respecting the receiver. For example, in countries like Sri Lanka, India, they have rituals like they play music in front of sometimes the gods they respect, in front of the Buddha or the tooth relic, maybe in front of a stupa, to show the gratitude or show the respect towards the venerated object or the venerated person. So this is considered as Saddha Dana. Saddha Dana. Normally it's played with a very soothing or attractive sweet music as respecting the receiver.
Yang kedua adalah sada dana atau suara ya, dana suara ini agak jarang, seperti misalnya memainkan musik ya yang indah, suara-suara yang indah untuk menghormati tamu yang menerima sada dana ini. Misalnya ada tradisi memainkan musik untuk di depan rupang daripada dewa atau Buddha atau stupa atau relik. Tooth relic misalnya, relik gigi misalnya, itu sering dilakukan di sana untuk memberikan penghormatan. Biasanya musik yang dimainkan sifatnya itu mengalun, indah, menenangkan ya, soothing, sebagai penghormatan kepada objek tersebut.
Yeah, and sometimes there is a custom like they play the gong. Gong means a bell. Especially in Sri Lanka, we have this custom. So the people come and strike the bell as a respect towards the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Right? Sometimes you may feel like, what is the actual giving in Sadhana? It is like it's something that we offer, which is soothing to the ear of the recipient. When the Buddha got enlightened, or when in certain occasions in his life, Devas, certain humans, Nagas especially, they came and played music in front of him as some sort of a gesture of respect. So he, as an arahant, as a person who has eradicated defilements, would not enjoy the music as we do, or as he didn't enjoy as we do, but it was pleasant to his ears. Now, for example, if we go into a suburb, or if we go near to a highway, the vehicles moving with the sound it creates is not very comfortable to our ears. If you happen to live near a railway, always the regular traveling of the trains is not very soothing to the ear. So in the same, but on the other hand, if you go to a place where is very sweet music is played, regardless of we enjoy or not, it is very soothing to our ears. It can be disturbing when you are meditating, but in the natural sense of 5 senses, it's very soothing, it's very comfortable. So giving such comfort is one aspect of dana, and that is called Saddha dana.
Juga misalnya di Sri Lanka ada tradisi membunyikan gong atau bell sebagai tanda respect, sebagai tanda hormat kepada Buddha, Dhamma, dan Sangha. Ketika kita bicara tentang dana suara ini, apa sebetulnya yang didanakan atau diberikan di sini? Yaitu adalah ketika suara tersebut itu memberikan ketenangan, soothing kepada pendengarnya. Di dalam kisah-kisah kita mendengar dewa, naga, itu ketika Yang Mulia Buddha setelah mencapai pencerahan, mereka kadang menghadap dan memainkan alat musik di hadapan Yang Mulia Buddha sebagai tanda hormat. Tentunya seorang arahat tidak menikmati musik sebagaimana kita menikmatinya, sebagai orang biasa menikmatinya, tetapi tetap saja bagi indranya secara natural itu bersifat menyenangkan. Seperti misalnya kalau kita tinggal di daerah pinggiran kota yang dekat dengan lalu lintas yang padat, dekat dengan rel kereta api di mana kereta api sering lewat berbolak-balik gitu ya. Tentunya ini tidak enak, tidak tenang, tidak nyaman di sana gitu. Tetapi ketika suara-suara ini yang suara-suara indah, suara-suara musik ini sifatnya secara natural memang menenangkan gitu ya. Jadi terlepas apakah pendengarnya itu hanyut menikmati atau tidak, tetap saja secara natural suara-suara indah ini bersifat soothing, sifat menenangkan. Karena itu ketika ditanya dana suara ini, apa yang didanakan yaitu adalah kenyamanan, ketenangan bagi indera pendengarnya.
So, for example, if in a monastery, if the bells are being placed, so the people come and strike the bells and offer the respect to the triple gems. Even placing a bell in a monastery is considered as offering Saddha dana, because eventually people would come and strike the bell and offer their respect. Another way of giving Saddha dana is very important information, because this is a type of dana that is neglected, not normally followed by devotees these days. If you offer some medicine to a Dhamma preacher or a one who chants Paritta, so their throat would be clearer, or would increase their voice, sweetens their voice, supports their voice. This type of offering, medical support or giving some substances which facilitates smooth voice or uninterrupted voice would also suffice or amounts to Saddadana. So Saddadana is not only playing music for the triple gems or the respected person, but also establishing certain objects that can be used as means of Saddadana, and also offering things in order to increase or sweeten the voice of others, especially the monks who preach Dhamma, and for the monks who chant Parita is also type of a Saddadana.
Misalnya ketika di sebuah wihara tadi kita menyumbangkan bel agar orang bisa memukul bel itu dan memberikan hormat kepada Buddha, Dhamma, dan Sangha, dana menempatkan bel di wihara itu dikategorikan sebagai dana dhamma. Nah, memang sadadama, dana suara. Nah, memang dana suara ini agak jarang atau agak terabaikan oleh umat saat ini. Maka kita perlu tahu lebih dalam lagi. Pertama, misalnya memberikan obat atau alat penyokong bagi misalnya katakanlah guru Dhamma atau kepada guru Parita ya, yang suka membacakan Parita, agar suaranya itu misalnya lebih bagus, lebih berlanjut, lebih indah, lebih jernih, itu juga dikategorikan sebagai dana suara atau sada dhamma ini. Nah, jadi memberikan suatu benda yang bisa menyokong, meningkatkan, memperindah, mempermanis suara, itu juga disebut sebagai sada dhamma.
Right. Then there's another way of Dhammadana which is mentioned in books, that if someone chant Parita nicely or preach Dhamma in order to respect the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, like we say its good qualities, what a Buddha, what is Dhamma, what is Sangha, praise the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and also chant Parita as a gesture of respecting the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. For example, if you are preaching the teachings of someone, as also one sort of it's a sort of a way of it's a gesture of showing the respect to the person. So if we do with the intention of respecting the person or the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and preach Dhamma and preach Parita, chant Parita, that also amounts to Saddadana. Sometimes it is also possible, especially now Buddhists, when they pray respect to the Buddha, they utter gathas like Itipiso, Bhagavārahang, and so forth. In our books, there are some gathas which are composed by using the gathas indicate or they convey the good qualities of the triple gem. So if you chant them as a respect, these also amounts to Saddadana. So gathas can be chanted, Dhamma can be taught, and Parita can be chanted as a respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and that also amounts to Saddadana.
Dalam sadadana juga adalah misalnya ketika Bapak Ibu membaca Parita dengan suara yang indah ya, ketika membabarkan Dhamma, mengulangi Dhamma dari khotbah yang mulia Buddha sebagai penghormatan pada Buddha, Dhamma, dan Sangha, ini juga merupakan suatu sada Dhamma. Atau ketika Bapak Ibu menguncarkan gata ya, syair atau lagu-lagu pujian, banyak gata yang disusun dengan membabarkan kualitas-kualitas agung daripada Triratna. Nah, ini juga penguncaran gata ini juga merupakan sada dhamma.
Then one can have a question here. When I said the music can be played as a respect as a way of giving dana, one can ask a question: isn't music played with lobha mula citta? Because normally it's prohibited for monks to play music. And the one when you observe the 8 precepts, Sabbata days, Uposatha days, we are not supposed to play music. So how could this amount to a kusala? Because in terms of Abhidhamma, in the end, what is offered doesn't matter. The intention is what matters in order to decide whether this is a kusala or a akusala, right? Because we have kusala chittas, akusala chittas, and also kusala chetana and akusala chetana. So normally we know if we play music, if we enjoy music, this is normally done with unwholesome mind, that is lobha mula chitta. It's not a akusala that would take someone to a bad destination by just listening to music and so forth, or playing music, especially as a lay person. But still we know it's played with unwholesome mindset. So how could this be dana? Because dana has to be, in terms of Abhidhamma, should be done in the kusala mind. So we have to keep it in mind. There are many stories especially in Apadana Pali, Theragata Pali. The commentaries also explicitly mention about this, that many disciples of the Buddha had played music to past Buddhas, have danced in front of past Buddhas, and showed their respect, gratitude towards the Triple Gem, and enjoy lots of merits, lots of good results of benefits in samsara. So in the Theravada perspective, if we perform these musics and dancing, singing as a gesture of showing respect to venerable personages, venerable recipients like Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, it is considered that activity is a wholesome activity. But the same act, if done for the purpose of enjoyment, for the amusement of someone, then it amounts to a akusala. It amounts to an akusala. And there is another type of akusala dana, which is called samajja dana. Samajja dana. If someone entertains others, this is how it has been classified, entertains others with the thought, a wrong thought, that one would accumulate merit by making others happy. One would accumulate merit by making others happy and making others feel fun. Because sometimes some people have such attitudes, have such thoughts. If we can make the others happy, we are doing something good. So that is a wrong thought. Just making someone happy, pleasant, it doesn't mean that you are doing something good for the person. So there are certain happinesses that should be followed, and there are certain happiness that should not be followed. So if someone does play or dance or play music or dance with the thought that I am accumulating merits by making others, giving enjoyment to others, then it's considered as a akusala dana, unwholesome giving. In this context, if we play music, sing or dance as a gesture to pay respect to a venerable person, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, or any other recluse or whatever, it's not confined to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, that amounts to a dana, and that is considered saddha dana.
Ketika kita bicara soal sadadana, ini mungkin bisa menjadi ada pertanyaan yang terlintas pada Bapak Ibu, bagaimana kita bisa menjadikan musik atau nyanyian atau tarian sebagai sadadana. Karena Bapak Ibu mungkin berpikir pertama, kebanyakan musik atau lagu atau tarian ini dimainkan dengan loba mula cita, atau pikiran yang dipenuhi dengan tujuan keserakahan ya. Dan yang kedua, ketika kita bicara dari aspek atasila, di sana juga dikatakan menghindari atau tidak memainkan atau mendengarkan musik seperti itu. Pertama adalah ketika kita bicara klasifikasi ini, kita bicara dari klasifikasi abhidhamma. Dalam kategori klasifikasi abhidhamma, maka apa yang didanakan, objek yang didanakan itu menjadi tidak terlalu penting dibandingkan dengan niat atau cetana pada saat melakukan dana tersebut. Seperti itu. Memang kebanyakan bagi umat awam atau dalam kehidupan kita sehari-hari, musik, tarian, nyanyian itu biasanya loba mula cita, walaupun memang sifatnya aku salah, tapi bukan aku salah yang bisa membawa ke alam kelahiran yang buruk seperti itu. Jika kita lihat kepada Tipitaka, kepada Apadana Pali atau Teragata Pali, maka kita bisa melihat banyak siswa-siswa agung yang mulia Buddha yang di kehidupan sebelumnya itu memainkan musik atau memberikan lagu atau tarian di hadapan Buddha-Buddha yang masa lampau. Dan akibat tindakannya tersebut, mereka kemudian menikmati kumpulan karma baik yang begitu besar sepanjang perjalanan di dalam samsara. Maka di dalam tradisi Theravada, memberikan nyanyian, lagu, tarian sebagai tanda respect, tanda hormat kepada Buddha, Dhamma, dan Sangha, ini merupakan suatu aktivitas yang bajik. Tetapi memang melakukan lagu musik untuk sekedar kenikmatan sensasi indera itu aku salah. Nah, salah satu aku salah yang terkait dengan ini adalah aku salah samaja dana.
Samajjadana.
Samajjadana. Ya, samajjadana.
Samaja is party actually.
Oh ya, party ya. Jadi memberikan pesta ya, memberikan pesta samajjadana. Jadi mana ada pandangan salah bahwa ketika kita mengentertain, menghibur orang lain, memberikan mereka kebahagiaan, hiburan, itu sama dengan kita melakukan dana atau melakukan kebajikan. Ini dua hal yang berbeda, karena ada kebahagiaan yang baik dan perlu dikejar, ada kebahagiaan yang buruk yang justru harus dijauhi, seperti itu.
Right. So then we moved on to the next type of dana, which is called Gandha dana, smell, offering smell. That's obvious, anyone can understand this. Offering incense. If you offer scent, perfume. Now, perfume, monks are not supposed to use perfume. But if we apply air freshener to a monk's kuti, or the Buddha's chamber, Buddha's shrine room, or offer incense sticks, these all are considered as offering Gandha dana. Gandha dana is giving pleasant smells to the recipient.
Jadi yang ketiga adalah ganda dana. Ganda artinya bebauan. Ini mudah dipahami, yaitu memberikan wangi-wangian, parfum, ya, sesuatu yang bisa memberikan kesegaran kepada misalnya wihara, pada kuti, kepada tempat tinggal Buddha, seperti itu, membawa hio, dupa, ya, seperti itu. Ini adalah ganda dana.
Right. So, and also offering flowers with good smell is also amounts to Gandha dana. Now, for example, if you're offering flowers, you can do two types of dana at the same time. Because it's very attractive. You can consider that I'm offering Varna dana. At the same time, you're offering Gandha dana if it is a pleasant flower which has a pleasant fragrance. So likewise, we may offer two types of dana while we are offering flowers.
Lalu juga misalnya ketika kita mempersembahkan bunga dengan yang memiliki harum yang enak, yang indah gitu ya. Ini juga merupakan ganda dana. Nah, terkait dengan bunga, pemberian bunga ini bisa dikategorikan sekaligus dua macam dana. Dari sisi keindahannya, kemenarikannya, maka ini merupakan wana dana. Tapi jika dilihat dari wanginya, harumnya, maka ini disebut sebagai ganda dana.
Then we come into rasadana. Rasadana is offering tasty food. So thirsty food, we have to be careful whether the food is nutritious, because sometimes the tasty food are not good for health. That's a different case. So, but we have to be careful about it. So if we are offering some food that contains good sweet taste, which is pleasant to the tongue, we are offering rasadana. So, for example, when you are giving a dana, giving a lunch to a monk or to the Buddha, if you make it delicious, so our purpose is to offer good taste to the person, and this amounts to rasadana. Then how about offering nutritious food? Nutritious food, we'll later learn that it will fall into dhammadana. Dhammadana is not the dhammadana of preaching dhamma. In sixfold dana, sixfold dana is based on the object. Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, Pottabha and Dhamma. Dhammadana of preaching dhamma is different thing. Then, so if you're offering food, nutritious aspect falls into dhammadana, because oja rupa is a dhamma ramana in terms of abhidhamma. Oja is a dhamma ramana. And if we are focusing on the taste, we are offering rasadana. So that we should know this categorization as well. So offering food with delicious taste is called rasadana.
Lalu yang keempat adalah rasadana, yaitu mempersembahkan makanan yang nikmat, ya, yang enak. Perlu hati-hati sedikit di sini. Enak belum tentu berarti bergizi. Enak juga belum berarti sehat atau baik untuk tubuh, ya. Tetapi secara dari aspek rasadana, maka mempersembahkan misalnya dana makan kepada Buddha, kepada para bhikkhu, pada sangga, lalu kemudian Bapak Ibu mempersiapkan dengan baik, membuatnya seenak mungkin, sebaik mungkin, memberikan dedikasinya Bapak Ibu untuk mempersembahkan makanan itu yang terbaik, yang terenak, maka ini disebut sebagai rasadana. Sebaliknya untuk aspek gizinya, ketika Bapak Ibu mempertimbangkan, oh saya ingin mempersembahkan makanan yang sehat, yang bergizi, yang bernutrisi, ini masuknya justru kategorinya kepada dhamma dana, karena oja rupa itu masuk dalam dhamma ramana, di dalam klasifikasi abhidhamma.
Then we have pottabha dana. Pottabha dana is offering things that gives you comfort, physical comfort. For instance, if you offer a good chair to the Buddha or Sangha, so the monks who sit would feel comfortable, or or a nice bed, mattress, bed sheets. Sometimes offering robes with good texture, material, cotton or whatever. So these all amounts to pottabha dana. For example, another way of thinking is now, for instance, if you install air condition into a monk's room, for example, or air condition in the Buddha shrine room, our purpose is to give comfort to the body, right? So these all amounts into pottabha dana. Even if you give something as a gift to some layperson, such as aircon and all, this also amounts to pottabha dana. So pottabha dana is offering something that would facilitate the bodily comfort. And then one can ask the questions, sometimes what about the sex workers? Do they offer, they are also offering some sort of comfort to the other receiver, prostitutes and all. So this is not considered as a dana, because it is very directly related to the lust. It arouses and it satisfies the lust of the person. But here we are giving a comfort to the body which is necessary, which is supportive for the being's life. For example, especially in meditation, if you are, for instance, while practicing samatha meditation, more the comfort you get to the body, it's easier the concentration can be developed. That's why even Buddha, the Bodhisattvas sat on 8 grass bundles before his enlightenment. So therefore, giving comfortable items, giving soft, or however you interpret this, items that brings physical comfort are called Pottabba Dana.
Nah, yang selanjutnya adalah Pottabba Dhamma, yaitu dana sentuhan ya. Ini merupakan dana yang bisa memberikan kenyamanan tubuh, seperti misalnya kursi yang baik ya, yang suportif, tempat tidur atau matras ya kan. Lalu juga spray yang nyaman, jubah yang memiliki tekstur yang baik. Juga misalnya bisa dikategorikan untuk zaman sekarang menyumbangkan AC misalnya untuk Dhamma Hall atau putih ya, seperti itu yang bisa memberikan kenyamanan di tubuh gitu, seperti itu. Yang tujuannya tentunya untuk meningkatkan praktek atau meningkatkan kualitas spiritual seseorang gitu. Jadi ini berbeda dengan memberikan misalnya sentuhan kenyamanan pelayanan apa tadi pijat yang erotis atau seperti apa yang tujuannya membangkitkan nafsu keinginan ya, nafsu keinginan gitu, itu berbeda jalurnya. Tetapi ini adalah memberikan kenyamanan untuk praktek spiritual, karena misalnya terutama sekali misalnya soal meditasi. Ketika bicara soal samatha, meditasi samatha, semakin Bapak Ibu itu memiliki kenyamanan dalam tubuhnya, maka akan lebih mudah berkonsentrasi di sana. Maka kita tahu Yang Mulia Buddha juga sebelum pencerahannya, sebelum duduk bermeditasi, membuat alas dari rumput ya, untuk alas duduk seperti itu. Ini menunjukkan kenyamanan dalam bermeditasi juga amat penting gitu. Jadi ini yang disebut sebagai Pottabba Dana.
So then another way to think about this. Now, the same object sometimes can be comfortable to the body. In some occasions, it can bring pain. For instance, think about air condition. During the hot season, it gives you comfort. But if you're on the air condition during the cold period or winter, that would turn into your body, right? So in this case, the intention what matters. If we are offering some type of a thing that could give comfort to the body as a purpose of giving the comfort, then it amounts to Pottabba Dana. Another very important Pottabba Dana that can be done is, for instance, water heaters, or especially in Western countries, offering heaters into the room, or hot water showers. So these are also related to Pottabba Dana because it's related to the physical comfort. So anything that is offered, chairs, beds, in today's context, air conditions, hot waters, all these are classified under Pottabba Dana. The purpose is, they give comfort to the body of the recipient.
Baik, bagaimana dengan beberapa objek atau benda-benda yang bisa di dalam kondisi tertentu memberikan kenyamanan, di kondisi tertentu justru membuat tubuh tidak nyaman. Misalnya AC, misalnya air conditioner. Kalau lagi cuaca terik, panas, ya mereka menyalakan AC bisa membuat nyaman. Tetapi kalau saat itu kondisinya sedang musim dingin misalnya, menyalakan AC tentu malah akan membuat tidak nyaman. Nah, dalam kasus seperti ini, maka tujuan waktu memberikan, niat waktu memberikannya itu yang diperhitungkan, seperti itu. Dalam konteks saat ini, misalnya di negara-negara yang dingin, memberikan pemanas ruangan, heater, memberikan water heater untuk mandi, shower yang nyaman, ini juga dikategorikan sebagai Pottabba Dana. Right.
Now, we'll take another example. Now, because when I was in Indonesia, it's a very common custom sometimes. You spread flowers on the surface where monks are walking. When you're taking them to a certain ceremony, we spread flowers on the carpet. Now think how many types of danas can be found here. Now one is it's colorful, and you are offering color to the monks, sangha. It's a rupa dana. And if that flower has a fragrance, good fragrance, then it amounts to Gandha Dana as well. And then the petals are very soft and it gives comfort to the feet when you walk on such flowers. And if the purpose is to also to bring comfort to the monks' feet, that also amounts to Pottabha Dana. So with the same flower, we are capable of offering 3 types of dana: Rupa, Gandha and Pottabha. So therefore this knowledge of understanding how the dana is classified is useful, that we can accumulate great merit with our understanding and consideration.
Baik, Bante mengatakan bahwa di beberapa negara itu ada tradisi misalnya menyebarkan bunga di rute atau di area rute di mana yang para biku akan berjalan sebagai tanda penghormatan. Maka dalam hal ini kita bisa melihat bahwa bisa berbagai jenis dana dilakukan dalam satu tindakan itu. Memberikan warna-warna yang indah itu adalah rupa dana. Kalau dia bunga-bunganya memiliki wawangian yang semerbak, ganda dana. Lalu ketika kelopak-kelopak bunganya itu lembut, nyaman ketika diinjak, itu merupakan Pottabha dana. Jadi dengan satu bunga yang sama, satu tindakan yang sama, itu kita bisa melakukan sekaligus berbagai macam jenis klasifikasi dana. Maka pengetahuan tentang klasifikasi dana ini amat berguna sekali bagi kita untuk bisa mengumpulkan benih kebajikan sebesar-besarnya.
Then any other offering that doesn't fall into this 6 category, yes, Rupa Dana, colorful objects, or that helps to have a colorful skin, or to have a pleasant appearance, or which beautifies you. Offering sound, or facilitating sweet voice, or supporting offering medicines that would facilitate sweet voice, playing music as a gesture of showing respect, offering fragrance, and offering tasty food, and then offering objects that would bring comfort to the body. These are the 5 types of dana. Any dana that doesn't fall into this category are called Dhamma dana. Right? Any object other than the first 5 are called Dhamma Ramana, right? Rupa Ramana, Saddha Ramana, Gandha Ramana, Rasa Ramana, Pottabha Ramana, and Dhamma Ramana. All the objects that doesn't fall into the 5-fold objects are called Dhamma Ramana. So in the same way, dana which are not classified under the first 5 categories are called Dhamma dana. Dhamma dana. And this should not be mixed or mingled with Dhamma dana of preaching or teaching the Buddha's words. If you remember, we classified dana into 3 groups: Amisa dana, Abhe dana, and Dhamma dana. Amisa dana is offering requisites. Abhe dana is saving others' lives, or releasing others from dangers, or preventing the dangers that can befall others. Then Dhamma dana is teaching righteous doctrines or the Buddha's teachings, or giving guidances, instructions on to meditation and all. So this Dhamma dana and the Dhamma dana of the dana classified based on objects are 2 things. So today what we are talking, danas that are not under the first 5 classification categories are called Dhamma dana. So we'll now learn what are they.
Lalu tadi kita sudah mempelajari 5 macam rupa, yaitu ada memberikan sesuatu yang indah atau membuat menjadi indah. Sada, suara, memberikan suara yang indah atau memberikan fasilitas yang bisa memberikan suara yang indah. Lalu juga terkait dengan bebauan, rasa, dan juga sentuhan atau kenyamanan di tubuh. Ini adalah 5 kategori dhamma yang pertama. Nah, yang jenis-jenis lain yang tidak bisa dikategorikan dalam 5 jenis klasifikasi ini dimasukkan dalam klasifikasi yang keenam, yaitu Dhamma Dana. Nah, ini jangan terbolak-balik ya, karena klasifikasi Abhidhamma ini adalah berdasarkan objek, berdasarkan pintu indranya kita, objek-objek yang berkenaan dengan pintu indera. Maka Dhamma Dana di sini tidak berarti seperti Dhamma Dana dalam kategori 3 yang seperti Amisa Dana, dana memberikan benda-benda, lalu Abhaya Dana memberikan pertolongan, pembebasan dari bahaya, dan Dana Dhamma yang adalah mengajarkan ajaran atau Buddha Dhamma. Nah, Dana Dhamma yang di kategori 6 berdasarkan Abhidhamma ini tidak terkait dengan kategori yang tadi, tidak sama seperti tadi.
Right. So then this Dhammadana of the object, based on the object classification, is again threefold. Oja Dana, Pana Dana, and Jivita Dana. Right? We'll first learn them separately. Oja Dana, Pana Dana, and Jivita Dana.
Baik, jadi dana dhamma berdasarkan klasifikasi objek ini atau 6 klasifikasi ini dibagi lagi menjadi 3, yaitu Oja Dana, Panya Dana, dan Jivita Dana.
Right. Oja Dana is offering nutritious food, which I discussed in the Rasadana. Rasadana, in the explanation of Rasadana, I said food can be offered at 2 separate danas, the same food. If you are focusing on the deliciousness of the food, the taste of the food, it amounts to Rasadana. If you're focusing on the nutritious part of the food, it amounts to Ojadana. If you can offer something which is nutritious at the same time delicious, then we can make 2 danas at the same time. So if you are focused on offering something nutritious to the person to make him healthier, so this type of offering is called Ojadana under the Dhammadana of the 6-fold classification.
Jadi yang pertama, ya, klasifikasi pertama dari dana dhamma adalah Ojadana. Ini adalah mempersembahkan makanan-makanan yang bergizi, oja ya, nutrisi. Tadi kita udah singgung sedikit, ketika bicara soal makanan kita bisa lihat dari 2 aspek. Pertama dari sisi rasanya. Kalau kita lihat fokus pada sisi rasa yang nikmatnya, maka masuk kepada rasa dana. Tetapi kalau kita bicara soal aspek gizinya, nutrisinya, dia masuk kepada ojadana. Nah, ketika kita mempersembahkan satu makanan yang enak dan juga bernutrisi, maka artinya kita melakukan 2 jenis dana sekaligus, yaitu rasa dana dan ojadana.
Then we have Panadana. Panadana is offering drinks for the purpose of quenching the thirst. If you offer drinks to quench the thirst, this is considered Panadana, right? For example, if you offer water, tea, coffee, whatever, in order to really quench the thirst of the person, this is considered Panadana. Now, the same Pana, if you are offering something which is nutritious, this amounts to Ojadana, right? Ojadana. And if you make it very delicious, this amounts into Rasadana. So now you can see this same object, if you are offering some kind of, especially because if you are offering food, delicious and nutritious food, it amounts into 2 danas, Rasadana and Ojadana. But if you are offering a drink, delicious, nutritious, at the same time that would quench the thirst, you are offering Rasadana, Ojadana, and Panadana. Right? And then the next explanation you will find sometimes we can offer things for the purpose of Jivitadana as well. So before that we'll explain Panadana first.
Jadi Panadana adalah memberikan minuman dengan tujuan untuk meredakan rasa haus seseorang ya, bisa air, teh, kopi, apapun. Ini disebut sebagai Panadama. Nah, ketika Bapak Ibu mempersembahkan minuman yang bergizi, maka dia jatuh dalam 2 kategori, yaitu Panadana dan juga Ojadana. Jika kemudian dia itu minuman tersebut bergizi dan nikmat, maka kategorinya jadi 3, Pana, Oja, dan Rasa Dana. Seperti itu. Bahkan bisa juga nanti masuk ke dalam kategori keempat, yaitu jiwita. Nah, kita akan lanjutkan sebentar lagi.
Then comes jivita dana. If you are offering food or drinks as a purpose of supporting the life of a person, this amounts to jivita dana. So now think, the food, if it is offered for the purpose of nutrition, then it's oja dana. If food is offered for the purpose of deliciousness, is rasa dana. If the beverages are given to quench thirst, this amounts to pana dana. And whatever food or beverage is given or drinks are given as an assistant to sustain the life of a person, this amounts to jivita dana.
Jadi yang ketiga adalah jiwita dana ya. Jadi makanan atau minuman yang diberikan atau dipersembahkan untuk mensupport kehidupan dari yang penerima dana. Nah, ini maka bisa jatuh banyak kategori nih. Kalau diberikan untuk mensupport hidup seseorang, itu dimasuk dalam jiwita dana. Kalau yang diberikan itu adalah sesuatu yang bergizi, itu adalah jadi masuk dua kategori, jiwita dana dan oja dana. Jika yang diberikan untuk mensupport kehidupan itu adalah yang bergizi dan nikmat, masuk tiga kategori, jiwita, oja, dan rasa dana. Jika yang diberikan itu untuk meredakan rasa haus, maka menjadi empat kategori, jiwita, oja, rasa, dan pana dana.
Right. So then another type of jivita dana is releasing the living beings who are bound or who are captured, sometimes imprisoned, who are in captivity. Right? If you release them, it's a jivita dana. If you release beings, it's now abheda. It's also very similar to abhedana. You release the dangers and give them life, make them helps them to get rid of death. And sometimes offering medicine to the sick, introducing someone to a doctor, or help someone to meet a doctor. These all amounts to jivita dana. So jivita dana is whether you are offering something for the sustenance of life, or whether you are offering some sort of medicines to get rid of certain sicknesses, or directly releasing others from death so one can live peacefully, happily. They all amounts to jivita dana.
Jadi sejenis jiwita dana yang berikutnya itu rada mirip dengan abaya dana, yaitu misalnya melepaskan makhluk hidup yang terpenjara, terkurung, atau terancam hidupnya. Itu juga termasuk dalam jiwita dana. Memberikan obat-obatan atau memperkenalkan orang yang sakit ke dokter yang bisa menyembuhkan, atau membantunya untuk bisa berobat ke dokter, itu juga termasuk dalam jiwita dana.
Right. So all these are pana dana, oja dana, jivita dana falls on the category of dhamma dana.
Jadi semua
this
ini
dhamma dana is not the teaching of dhamma. It's a categorization. It's a dana category found under the classification based on the nature of the object offered.
Jadi tiga ini, oja dana, jiwita dana, dan panya dana, ini masuk dalam kategori dhamma dana, yang jangan sampai dibingungkan. Bukan berarti adalah dalam kaitan memberikan khotbah atau ceramah kepada orang lain, tetapi ini adalah 6 kategori berdasarkan objek berkaitan dengan pintu-pintu indera kita.
Then we come into another classification of dana based on vinaya. Vinaya dana classification. Dana classification based on vinaya. So this is mainly aiming towards offering things to the monks and nuns, right? Monks and nuns, especially bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, samanera, samaneri, and sikkamanas. So it is fourfold in terms of the object that is being offered.
Lalu klasifikasi lain tentang dana yang kita kenal adalah klasifikasi berdasarkan winaya. Berdasarkan winaya itu artinya khusus terkaitan dengan para bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, samanera, dan samaneri. Ini dikategorikan dalam 4 kelompok.
Also sikkamana.
Oh, dan juga sikap mana.
Right. So it's fourfold: Chivara, Pindapata, Senasana, and Gilanapaja. These are the 4 requisites that are required for monks to sustain their life, for monks to sustain his life. So offering clothes such as robes, sanghati, uttara, sangha, and so forth, and any other cloth which is allowable to be used is called Chivaradana. So offering clothes allowable for monks, nuns, are called Chivaradana.
Yang pertama adalah Ciwaradana. Ciwara itu berkaitan dengan pakaian, ya, jadi mempersembahkan jubah atau pakaian lain yang diizinkan atau kain yang diizinkan untuk dipergunakan oleh sangga. Ini disebut sebagai Ciwaradana.
Right. So, and also if you are offering certain sheets to the beds, so the monks could use them, but it can also be applied in Senasana Dana based on the purpose. If you are offering a bed sheet for a monk as a pachat, we call it pachat tarana, which can be applied on this on the Senasana, on the bed, but it becomes a robe of the monk. There are 2 types of pachat tarana that can be used as a requisite of the monastery or something that can be used as a personal thing. So if you are offering something to the monk as a cloth that is useful for the monk's usage, this amounts into Chivara Dana. Since Chivara is very vital, because monks and nuns, in these days we talk about Sealis, so we all depend on very minimum amount of clothes, and normally monk's cloth is a robe, and this robe is a rectangle piece of cloth, right? Almost all the robes are rectangle, just pieces of clothes. And only for bhikkhunis there is a special cloth to cover their upper body, which is like a shirt. Other than that, the monks, recluses, clothes are normally just rectangular clothes, right? So in these days, today's Sealis also have one kind of a shirt, but otherwise other clothes are rectangles. So just a pieces of clothes that we use to cover our body. And this is very useful, very, very useful in order to lead our lives. In those days, Buddha's time, it was very hard to find such clothes. It was very hard. It was not found in abundance like today. But today the context is different. Clothes are a lot, and sometimes the monasteries have excessive amount of robes, and we don't know what to do with that sometimes. So those days the robes were very rare, and also it distinguished us from the disciples of the Nigantas, some Achelakas, because some recluses used to live naked, but the Buddha never appreciated or encouraged for naked asceticism. Their purpose was to get rid of attachment towards the clothes, because clothes are very attractive to the person's mind. That's why think about a lay person. We have lots of clothes suitable for the parties, clothes suitable for the weddings, clothes suitable for the monastery, for a casual clothes for the house, to wear while in the house, maybe to the school, the universities. So clothes, there are lots of clothes in a normal lay person's life. So when you become a monk or a nun, we abandon these clothes. It's one of the great abandonings that we do, giving up clothes, because clothes makes a person beautiful. That's why we are very much careful about selecting the costume, or selecting the cloth that we are wearing to a certain party and so forth, because it gives a different, if you are wearing a bad cloth, it completely gives a different feeling or appearance to the other person. But when it comes to monks and nuns, we have to depend on very minimal amount of clothes, and those clothes are not fancy. And monks give up this attachment, and also those days clothes were not very common among the people. So manufacturing clothes did not happen under mass production as it is done today. So clothes were very vital, and Buddha has prioritized in terms of all the 4 requisites. The first requisite, which is mentioned, is clothes, robes, chivara. And when you study Vinaya, you find the rules regarding robes are strict than rules related to any other requisite. So robes are the most strictly we call it strictly the restrictions are very high regarding the robes. So offering chivara is a very great merit, especially to the monks and nuns.
Baik, jadi terkait dengan pemberian ciwara ini atau jubah ini, para biku itu sudah mencoba berlatih untuk melepaskan kemelekatan, mempercantik penampilan melalui jubah. Seperti kita tahu, bagi umat awam misalnya memilih pakaian itu nggak boleh salah gitu ya. Kita cenderung mempercantik, menunjukkan kelas atau posisi kita melalui pakaian. Tetapi bagi para pertapa, para biku, ini mereka sudah mencoba melepaskan kemelekatan akan pakaian atau mempercantik diri ini. Maka terkait dengan pakaian ini, para biku berusaha hidup dengan kebutuhan yang seminimum mungkin ya, yang hanya untuk menopang kehidupan saja. Dengan demikian juga kita perlu paham bahwa kenapa soal jubah atau pakaian ini merupakan bagian yang diatur cukup ketat di dalam Vinaya, ya. Lalu aspek lain juga di zaman era yang mulia Buddha dulu, jubah ini walaupun jubah biku itu sederhana, hanya kain persegi panjang seperti itu aja ya. Untuk biku ini ada sedikit perbedaan, atau saya lihat ada sedikit perbedaan karena harus menutup bagian atas tubuh. Tetapi pada dasarnya kan ini hanya kain selembar yang panjang. Hanya saja zaman dulu tuh tidak seperti zaman sekarang di mana kain atau pakaian ini diproduksi dalam jumlah yang besar. Pada era yang mulia Buddha dulu untuk mendapatkan selembar kain itu amat langka dan sulit sekali diperoleh seperti itu.
Right. So then we comes to pindapata, the second type of requisite, which is very vital to sustain the life of a person. So offering food to monks and nuns, it's called offering pindapata. And also we need to be careful when food is offered, that should be given during the proper time. As recluses, anyone who gives up household life, that is called recluse. It includes tapasas, for example, the recluses of other religions, especially bodhisattvas. They abandon the household life based on become tapasas. Sometimes even he has abandoned household life and practiced wrong doctrines. For example, before the Buddha, Vipassi appeared in the world. Bodhisattva was became an ascetic and was following a wrong doctrine for 90,000 years, as the book says. And in the end, last moment, he was able to give up that wrong doctrine and was able to be born in the Sugati realm because of his capacity to not to regret and decide what is correct and wrong. So normally, any person who gives up household life is an ascetic. Tapasas are there who are following a doctrine of karma, and then some are following wrong doctrines, like Nigantas are also Pabajita. They are called Samana. They are also recluses. They are not lay people. Sometimes we have a group called Achelaka, Paribhajaka. They all fall under the category of the ones who have given up the household life. The monks are just another sect of them. Another sect. So these days we also have Syalis, who are not Bhikkhunis or Samaneras, but they also belong to the category of Pabbajita. The actual status of Pabbajitahood is giving up the household life and the bondages. The one is not bound to any person. That is called Pabbajita life. So in the Pabbajita life, in the monk's recluse's life, food was something that was not easy to be obtained, and normally the recluses restrain themselves from eating after noon. That's a common practice that was among the recluses. So just dedicate their morning session for the food, because otherwise without food it's not possible to sustain your life. In the entire evening session, after noon till the next morning, they especially dedicate themselves for the spiritual growth or spiritual practice. Spiritual growth or spiritual practice. So spiritual growth or spiritual practice doesn't mean that they are supposed to meditate all the time or study. Spiritual life is a huge thing. Like many activities are involved. For example, building the monasteries, running the monasteries, taking care of each other. So it's an entire life. It's a complete life. So but we are supposed to dedicate our evening, afternoon till the next morning, mainly for our spiritual practice, and also to support the other brethren, the other recluses. We have two purposes. We develop our own few main aims in our lives. So we have developed our own spiritual qualities, support the other brethren. Brethren means the ones with whom we practice do our practice, and also to preach the Dhamma to the lay people who are supporting us. So these are the mainly three aspects that recluse should follow. So we dedicate our evening mainly for that purpose. In the morning, as human beings, since we need to find nutritious nutriment to sustain our life, we need to go for Pindapata or find foods somehow in a righteous way. So offering this food was a great assistance for their spiritual growth. So offering food for recluses is considered offering Pindapata, and that should be offered during the proper time. If food is being offered in the after the noon, it still amounts to dana. It still amounts to dana, because, for example, before the Buddha laid down the rule of Vikala Bhojana, monks used to go Pindapata at night even. When there was no such a rule of Vikala Bhojana, monks ate after noon. That was not an issue, but they were supposed to know their limitations and so forth. Even they had dinner those days, because it's clearly mentioned in the Majjhima Nikaya. Venerable Maha Udaitera, not the normal one, Maha Udaitera was really upset when the Buddha was promulgating the rule of Vikala Bhojana, and Venerable Baddali even didn't follow it. He said he straightly opposed that. I'm not going to stop my dinner because you are going to promulgate a training rule, because I cannot sustain with one meal. So it's important. So it's important that you offer the food during the proper time, during the daytime. Monks are allowed to have food, but for example, if you offer meals after noon even, that amounts to dana. But after the rule is been promulgated in the Buddha's teachings, it won't be a very great one, because you are in the end they would break the rule by eating it, or if someone is following in here, that food is of no use for the recluse. So therefore, Pindapata dana is mentioned, offering food during the proper time for the monks. I think we lost Adyansha, right?
Sorry, Bhante, maybe the translator is
he
out.
Yeah, he dropped.
Maybe the
Suddenly he dropped.
problems, Bante.
We'll wait and see whether he can reconnect. Otherwise, someone else can translate.
Bante, maybe while we are waiting for the translator, may I ask question? I know this is not the maybe the right time because not
So
the
then we shall do it. If you can translate my last part, if anyone can translate, then we can I'll give you one short translation and we can finish the session and then go for the Q&A, right? Is it good? What do you think?
about Bante's last part. I didn't catch quite also. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
Bante.
It's okay. Then I think some of would have understood. It's about Pindapata. So I'll give you a brief explanation. You can translate. So Pindapata dana is offering food during the proper time in which monk can have their food. Yeah. If you can translate, I'll give you another one short part and then you can go for the Q&A. So then it's the talk is finished then.
Okay. Please slowly, Bante.
Okay. Offering food, Pindapata is offering food, edible food during the allowed period for morning session for monks and nuns.
Dana berupa pindapata adalah berupa makanan yang diperbolehkan di saat pagi atau pada waktu tertentu saja kepada para samana.
Right. Then offering senasana is offering, for example, kutis, contributing to the kutis, chairs, beds, whatever equipment used for living is called offering senasana. Yeah.
Dana berupa senasana itu adalah dana berupa kuti, barang-barang yang dipergunakan di dalamnya, misalnya seperti bangku, meja yang dipergunakan untuk keperluan sehari-harinya.
Right. Then offering besajja, gilana pachaya besajja, the fourth Vinaya dana, is offering medicine, like such as honey or whatever medical substance that is useful to get rid of sickness is called offering besajja parikara.
Dana berupa besaja parikara ini adalah dana obat-obatan. Salah satu contohnya adalah madu yang bisa dipergunakan sebagai obat.
So word used for that is gilana pachaya normally. Gilana pachaya.
Biasa juga disebut gilana pachaya besaja.
So these are the 4 types of dana in terms of Vinaya.
Ini adalah 4 jenis dana yang berdasarkan Vinaya.
So today we discuss 6-fold dana based on Abhidhamma classification, especially based on objects, 6-fold objects. Then 4-fold dana based on Vinaya.
Jadi hari ini kita membahas 6 tingkatan dana berdasarkan Abhidhamma dan 4 tingkatan dana berdasarkan Vinaya.
Yeah, so Abhidhamma explanation, 6-fold dana is Rupa dana, Saddha dana, Gandha dana, Rasa dana, Pottabha dana, and Dhamma dana. Dhamma dana should not be mixed with the Dhamma dana of teaching, right? Then Vinaya is, okay, that is Abhidhamma, 6, okay.
Jadi 6 yang Abhidhamma itu
Rupa dana,
Dhamma dana,
Rupa dana,
Rupa dana,
Saddha dana,
Gandha rasa dana, Gandha dana,
Pottabha dana,
Pottabha dana,
and Dhamma dana.
Dhamma dana I already say.
Okay, Rupa dana, Rupa dana,
Oh, Rupa.
Rupa.
Oh, Rupa.
Saddha.
So,
Okay,
Rupa.
come on. Rupa Saddha. Okay.
Yes.
Rupa Saddha, Gandha,
Gandha,
Rasa, Pottabha, and Dhamma.
Dhamma.
6 objects, no?
Dhamma in here is a Dhamma with small d, Bante.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Jadi yang 6 hal tadi, rupa, ganda,
Saddha, Rupa Saddha.
rupa sada dana, Pottabha,
Rasa
Gandha,
Pottabha.
and Dhamma. Dengan
Okay, right.
huruf D kecil yang dibedakan dengan D besar. Kalau D besar itu Dhamma ajaran Sang Buddha, kalau D kecil itu yang di luar ajaran Sang Buddha. Maksudnya bukan yang ajarannya gitu.
Right. Then the 4-fold dana is Chivara, Indapata, Senasana, Gilana Pachya Besajja.
Kalau 4 yang berdasarkan Vinaya, Ciwara, Senasana itu yang tadi kuti dan perlengkapannya, obat-obatan, Pindapata, dana berupa makanan.
Right. So that's the lecture today. So I hope you had the understanding about the 6-fold danas, and that you'll be able to give dana more wisely with understanding in future, in fulfilling the dana part.
Sadu. Jadi demikian hari ini penjelasan dari Bante. Bante berharap semoga kita bisa berdana dengan lebih bijaksana, karena kita hari ini sudah diajarkan berbagai macam jenis dana. Semoga bisa untuk kita memenuhi parami di kehidupan ini untuk mencapai nibbana. Sadu. So Bante, now is the question and answer session. My name is Wija. We'll get the Q&A session. Sahabat Dhamma, apabila ada pertanyaan bisa klik raise hand ataupun ketik di kolom chat, nanti saya akan bantu bacakan. Translator, apakah sudah join kembali?
Yeah, thank you, Bu Wija.
Oh, iya.
Oh, you have come.
Sorry, Bante. Technical issue.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I'm the first questioner.
Okay,
So-
you can ask the question. Yeah.
So Bante, just now Bante said about the food that delicious and also healthy. So that also dana, tangible also dana. How if the food is healthy, but for the bhikkhu, for him it's not healthy for him, but for me I know this is healthy for him. So that is a subjection. And also the drink, this is healthy, but for the bhikkhu I don't like this drink, I don't think this is delicious for me. So that can also be the buddhana, Bante.
Yeah, you translate it to Indonesian first.
Oh, oke. Jadi saya tanya tadi kan Bante kan ada bilang kalau kita dana makanan enak, minuman enak, yang sehat juga itu kan termasuk salah satu jenis dana yang tadi Bante sebutkan. Nah, gimana kalau menurut saya ini makanan enak, ini minuman yang menyehatkan, tapi buat Bantenya ini nggak enak, ini nggak menyehatkan. Berarti kan ini subjektif. Nah, itu apakah bisa disebut dana juga seperti itu?
Yeah, so in here we need to understand the deliciousness and the nutritious food and delicious food. So and also it's very subjective. Some food which are nutritious for us can be not healthy to the other person, depending on, for instance, some food are good for my body, while it may react differently to another person. It's subjective in terms of the body, and also the taste. For instance, if you come from a different country, maybe the food that is delicious to you may be not delicious for a person who comes from a different country. We experience it here because when you have foreign monks, right? We see this, right? The Sri Lankan monks enjoy certain food, but it is very hard for the foreign monks. When you visit Myanmar, the same thing was happened in the reverse order. It was difficult for us, but it was very tasty for them. So taste is very subjective because it is related to the mind, but the nutritious nature is subject to the body, whether we like it or not. Sometimes there can be some nutritious food which is not tasty. So in the end, think about the food, whatever the food we offer, as long as it's not a poison, it's not going to kill the person. So it's a dana, right? It's a dana. And sometimes accidentally we may offer something, a food that can be poisonous to someone, and we are not aware of that. Possible, right? But still, as long as the intention is to offer something and that is edible, if you know that it's edible, and we have no idea that it would become an allergy, it would cause an allergy in him, still it's a dana. See, it's a dana. So what matters in the end, when we are counting about the merit, our intention, the kusala chetana, is what matters. So as long as we know it is edible and it is not a poison, yes, then it's a dana. But our consideration about the taste, about the nutritious, call it nutriment, is something additional. So if you are very thoughtful, sometimes we may offer nutritious food with less taste, and sometimes occasionally even doctors would say, yeah, occasionally if you had some things which are tasty, which are not very healthy, that is not going to cause a huge problem into your body, right? So that kind of, some people are very strict on this. Even some nutritions are okay just time to time, even if you had some sort of a processed food, occasionally that won't harm the person. And also it's very subjective to the body of the person. Some people's bodies can tolerate certain food, and for some it's not. It's very subjective. It's very difficult to generalize this rule, and these food are not healthy and these food are healthy, right? It's to label ultimately, it's not possible. So therefore, if we have a consideration about the nutritious nutriment and also the deliciousness, then it amounts to rasadana and ojadana. But even you are not aware of it, you don't focus on it, just we are offering food, then it becomes amisadana. And because when you are offering food, is not, another point is, it's not possible to avoid the taste factor. It's not possible to avoid the nutritious factor. nutriment factor. Because, for instance, if you are going to offer something to someone, we choose some food, and if you analyze, why did I choose this food, right? Why did I choose this food? Because I know it's good for the humans, and instead of going to this food, I went to this food because it is tasty, or it's delicious, or maybe it's nutritious. So even though we don't consider deeply, when we are offering food, or when you are especially offering food to monks, automatically this rasa, aspect of rasa, taste, and aspect of oja, the nutriment, automatically comes into our mind, right? Automatically comes into our mind. So therefore, it's subjective. We will not be able to satisfy the person fully, but as long as we have a good intention of offering something good and something tasty, or something which is edible for sustaining the life, yes, then it's a dana. Now, for example, if you think, while the Mahabodhisattva is offering flesh to other beings, right? He's offering just raw flesh, meat, sometimes the blood. There's no taste in it, right? There's no, I don't know what the nutritious called nutriment. Yeah, maybe it's because of meat, it's very nutritious, but he's just offering him to them to sustain the life, and also to him to accumulate merits, right? So in such dana, sometimes when you're offering food for the sustaining of life, we don't much focus on the taste or the nutriment. So it's a complicated thing. So it's very difficult to exactly say how it works. So we have to be practical and understand based on the context. I think Adi and Shah can translate.
Ya, baik. Jadi memang terkait dengan pertanyaan ini memang tidak bisa secara exact ya, secara teoritis batasannya, tetapi secara sederhana bisa dibilang bahwa setiap pemberian dana makanan itu kan pasti masuk ke dalam amisadana ya. Dalam amisadana artinya pemberian benda, di mana dari amisadana ini adalah bentuk benda ini ada dua aspek yang perlu dilihat, ada dua aspek yang bisa kita telaah. Pertama adalah aspek daripada nutrisinya, dan kedua adalah aspek daripada rasanya. Nah, memang tiap orang berbeda-beda preferensinya ya. Jadi berdasarkan latar belakangnya, latar belakang budaya negara tertentu mungkin suka rasa makanan tertentu, sementara negara lain nggak suka makanan tersebut. Maka ini memang bisa bersifat subjektif di sini. Tetapi selama dana ini dilakukan dengan niat baik dan dengan mempertimbangkan sebaik mungkin aspek daripada nutrisi maupun aspek daripada kelezatannya, maka tidak perlu diragukan lagi ya aspek dananya gitu, seperti itu. Jadi tinggal masalah yang dibicarakan di sini kan lebih detail abidamanya, apakah dia berkenaan dengan objek yang mana di pintu inderanya kita. Nah itu, jadi ini kan aspek detail ya. Tetapi misalnya katakanlah ketika Mahabodhisatta mempersembahkan dagingnya atau darahnya kepada makhluk lain, maka di sini tentu Bodhisatta juga tidak mempertimbangkan rasa ataupun nutrisinya mungkin atau gimana. Yang penting tujuannya adalah niat baik untuk membantu menopang kehidupan makhluk lain, seperti itu. Nah, itu dari aspek itu saja sebetulnya akumulasi daripada kebaikan parami sudah bisa diperoleh. Seperti itu kurang lebih secara singkat ya, Bu Wija ya. Jika ada yang kurang boleh ditambahkan.
Oke, sadu, makasih kok. Apakah ada penanya lain? Kita masih ada waktu sampai 10 menit lagi ke depan. Bante, how about dana slipper or sandals and also stick? It's also sena sana, Bante, because we use daily and for our lives.
These are sorry. These are called yana dana. Yana. We don't. The fourfold dana may not include everything. It may not encompass everything. But if you're offering slippers, sticks, walking sticks, and what else? Yeah, so these two mainly are offering a vehicle, maybe vehicle. So these are called yana dana. Yana is a vehicle that by which you travel. For instance, think about slippers. When you have slippers, you can walk on places that you cannot walk barefoot, right? If you have good shoes, good slippers, you'll be able to walk on a hard surface even. You won't feel it. So slippers are considered as yana. Yana is a vehicle normally, something that is helpful for you to travel. So katra danda is a walking stick. It's helpful to climb mountains and also when we get old. Wheelchairs sometimes, right? All these are called yana dana. A special benefit has been mentioned by Buddha in sutra if you offer yana, because those days we didn't have vehicles like cars and all, and it was prohibited for monks to travel on vehicles dragged by living beings. We cannot travel on a vehicle dragged by horse, cow, camel, elephant, or even dragged by a human, rickshaws, right? We cannot travel on them. It's prohibited by Vinaya. It's okay to travel for a sick monk, but in that case, Buddha has said not to travel on a cart or a rickshaw that is dragged by a female in order to make the distance from the females, right? So even a female ox, a cow, if the cow is dragging the cart, we cannot sit on it and travel on it. But this allowance is given to sick monks. If you are not sick, you cannot travel on such vehicles. But while sick, we have to consider who is dragging it. If a woman is dragging the rickshaw, no, we are not supposed to sit on it. So they were not, but we can travel on ship. We can travel on boats. So this is the allowance. Since it is allowed to travel on ship, which moves with the wind power, the Mahatheras of our eras have decided it's okay to travel on vehicle, because vehicle is not dragged by anything, it's traveling by its own engine. Like a ship is moving based on the wind, helping to the wind. So no person is being involved in making a ship to travel. So vehicles of today are considered ships that travel on land. That is how the allowance was taken, right? So in terms of Vinaya, it's not possible to travel on a vehicle. Those days, the vehicles were dragged by animals or humans. So the prohibition is still valid. It's still valid. Then what about when during the mechanical revolution, when the engine was invented, we started to have vehicles that are moving or run by engines. So then the Mahatheras, when this came into the context, train, the steam engine, cars, these vehicles came into the context, right? So then they applied, yes, since there's no creature who is dragging this thing, and since it is allowed to travel on ship, they made it like these are vehicles similar to ships, but normal ship travels on water, and these ships travel on the ground, right? Ground ships. So that's how we are traveling in a car or a jeep or a bus or something. Yeah, so these are called yana. So those days they are the yana dragged by animals. And the other type, so it was prohibited for monks. So only vehicle that we could travel was on slippers. If you sometimes even today, when they categorize the poverty or the distribution of wealth in the globe, in the earth, one way of deciding person's wealth is based on what type of vehicle they are using. There are some people who could afford a jet for themselves, like billionaires. They have their own plane, own jets. Some would have a cruise ship, right? Like some could have yachts and all these. The billionaires could afford such things. Then normally, it falls down and comes to a good vehicle, a luxurious vehicle, then an ordinary vehicle. Then how much of people in the world can afford such a vehicle and so forth. So they are studying about the distribution of wealth. Then it comes to a bicycle. Some person may not be able to afford a 4-wheel vehicle, but just a bicycle. Then finally the categorization comes. Even in modern days, how many people could afford slippers? Because if you think about people in tribes in Africa, in India, maybe in Indonesia also, because it is a very big country with a huge population, 4th population in the world, right? So there are people who cannot afford to buy slippers for themselves, or maybe their area doesn't have that custom. I think about the tribes who are living in the forest. They don't wear slippers, right? They just walk barefoot. And some people who are oppressed by poverty, believe it or not, there are some people who cannot afford for slippers because they don't have money for that. Because when the slippers are torn, we have to buy another slipper, right? You need some sort of economic stability to buy slippers in their context. Maybe nothing for the ordinary people in the cities. So even today, slippers are under the context of vehicles. I watched a TED talk once when they were talking about the distribution of wealth. They brought what type of vehicle someone is using, and in the last vehicle they were talking was slippers. And in the Buddha's teachings, yes, for monks, those days, since there were no motor cars and the other vehicles were prohibited, the only vehicle, the yana we had was slippers. And Buddha gave a discourse saying that if someone offers yana means slippers. If someone offers slippers, especially he offers comfort, sukha. Yana do sukha do hoti. One who offers vehicles, one who offers slippers in those contexts, offering happiness or comfort. Why is that? Yana is something that is used for traveling. Yati ete nati yanang, that is the definition. You travel with that. Yana. Yati is to go. Yana is something that is used to go comfortably, quickly. Now think about a Mercedes, to be able to sit on it and very comfortably travel the distance. Unlike traveling in another car, when you get out from Mercedes, you feel it was nice. It was a good travel. You didn't feel much tired when you travel in a luxurious vehicle. For example, when you travel in the plane, it's very fast, and it could travel in the sky. So the same distance, you've come from Sri Lanka to Indonesia, for example. If I have to travel in another means, it would take a lot of time and consume a lot of time and a lot of energy in me. But I could travel in few hours with a plane. So vehicles give comfort in traveling. Vehicles give comfort in traveling. Traveling is something that is very exhausting. Those days, especially, someone is supposed to go to the city from the village. It's something that we have to consider. We just cannot go and come because it takes a lot of time. Maybe a few days that you have to travel to go to the city and come back. You're walking, right? Even inside Jakarta, if you are just traveling into suburbs very easily, but if there are no vehicles, we will not be counting days, counting hours. We'll be planning our days, right? Sunday I'll go to the downtown, and Monday I'll come back. That's how we would be planning if there was no vehicles. So vehicles gives comfort. Traveling is something very exhaustive, and vehicles gives the comfort and reduces the exhaustion. So the same thing happens with slippers. With slippers, we are very fast than barefoot, and our feet are not hurt when you use slippers. So therefore, if someone offers slippers, he's offering comfort. And in samsara, he would specially get sukha, happiness in samsara. Especially, another way to think about this is, yana, slippers helps you to reach a certain destination with comfort. And in spiritual practice, our yana is our mind that helps us to attain nibbana. Nibbana is a destination. Consider it as a destination, not a physical destination, a place, a destination where we attain through our practice. So yana, our yana is the mind, chitta. Destination is nibbana. So slipper is the yana. Destination is the place where we're going to go, or the car is the yana. The place is where we would go. So because of the help of yana, we'll be able to reach there very comfortably. Same way. So as a result, if you offer yana, slippers, or vehicles, when you are traveling, the journey towards nibbana would be comfortable. Sukha patipada. It won't be a very exhaustive, troubling journey. So offering slippers, offering vehicles would make you to have a smooth journey towards the liberation. Just a long answer anyway.
Baik.
Adiyasha has to take the burden.
Jadi pertanyaannya adalah kalau kita mendanakan sandal, tongkat jalan, atau misalnya kursi roda, ini termasuk jenis dana apa? Dan saya cuma akan singkat aja, penjelasan Bante tadi cukup detail. Ini masuk dalam kategori yana dhamma ya, jadi dana kendaraan. Yana itu sebenarnya kendaraan kereta ya sebetulnya, atau kendaraan. Dana kendaraan memang ada aturan di zaman dulu, para biku itu tidak diperkenankan untuk berkendara dengan menggunakan kereta ya. Itu aturannya masih berlaku ya, tetapi para tera sekarang itu menafsirkannya sedikit berbeda, karena umumnya kendaraan darat pada era yang mulia Buddha pada waktu itu ditarik oleh makhluk hidup, baik misalnya ditarik oleh kerbau, sapi, atau gajah, atau bahkan oleh manusia ya, ditarik oleh manusia. Maka para biku itu tidak diperkenankan untuk menggunakan kereta seperti itu, kecuali jika kondisi sakit, itu ada pertimbangan tertentu ya, ketika sedang sakit. Tetapi para biku di era yang mulia Buddha itu dulu boleh diperkenankan berlayar menggunakan perahu ya, karena perahu digerakkan oleh angin. Seperti itu, tidak ditarik oleh tenaga makhluk hidup. Maka para tera menarik kesimpulan bahwa yang membuat itu tidak diperkenankan adalah karena ditarik oleh tenaga makhluk hidup. Nah, pada era modern sekarang dengan revolusi teknologi, maka kita menggunakan kendaraan bermotor ya, tidak lagi ditarik oleh tenaga makhluk hidup. Maka para tera zaman sekarang mengatakan bahwa ya tidak ada masalah bagi para biku untuk berkendara di darat menggunakan kendaraan bermotor saat ini, karena pada hakikatnya tidak ditarik oleh makhluk hidup ya, seperti itu. Nah, kembali soal sandal tadi, sandal dikategorikan sebagai kendaraan ya, karena memang membawa seseorang dengan lebih nyaman dari satu tempat ke tempat lain ketika berpergian ya. Ya memang sampai sekarang ini tidak semua juga, masih sulit kadang di beberapa daerah, bahkan bagi anggota sangga untuk memperoleh sandal ya, sandal gitu ya, bisa karena memang wilayahnya itu sangat miskin sekali, bahkan sandal aja itu sulit, atau memang kulturnya tidak menopang ya, tidak ada, misalnya banyak di hutan-hutan yang biasanya berkaki telanjang jalannya gitu ya tidak umum untuk memberikan sandal seperti itu. Tetapi secara singkat dikatakan bahwa memberikan sandal itu adalah memberikan kenyamanan, memberikan suka ya kepada tubuh, membuat seorang biku bisa melakukan perjalanan dengan lebih nyaman dan lebih cepat gitu ya berjalan. Sehingga ini dikategorikan sandal itu bagi seorang biku adalah kendaraannya ya, kendaraannya berjalan kaki ya. Lalu apa manfaatnya ketika kita mendanakan sandal? Karena kita mendanakan kenyamanan kepada orang lain, maka buah karmanya adalah kita dalam perjalanan spiritual juga akan memperoleh kemudahan ya, kelancaran, kenyamanan, suka pada saat kita menempuh perjalanan spiritual kita seperti itu. Terima kasih.
Oh, the question has finished, Bante. I really thankful to hear your explanation. May Bante be well and happy and attain nibbana soon. Sahabat Dhamma, demikian sesi akhir dari tanya jawab ini. Saya kembalikan ke host Dr. Sania, silakan.
Screen kada.
Sahabat Dhamma yang berbahagia, mari kita semua bersikap anjali dengan segala kerendahan hati. Mari kita memohon maaf kepada Bante atas kesalahan yang pernah kita lakukan, baik melalui pikiran, ucapan, dan perbuatan sebelum dan selama acara malam ini berlangsung. Bante, if we have done something wrong in the past and present, whether intentionally or unintentionally, through the actions of our body, speech, or mind, may we sincerely, humbly, and respectfully ask for Bante's forgiveness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okasa wandami Bante,
Sukhi hotu, nibbana sapacyo hotu.
maya katam punyam samina anumoditabam.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami.
Samina katam punyam mayam databam.
Sadhu anumoditabang.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami. Okasa dwarata yena katam sabam acayam kamata me Bante.
Kamami kamitabang.
Sadhu okasa kamami Bante. Sahabat Dhamma, mari kita limpahkan jasa kebajikan yang telah kita lakukan dengan pelimpahan jasa yang akan dibimbing oleh Bhikkhu Watagoda Maggavihārī. Mari kita semua bersikap anjali. Bante would like Bante to please guide us for the sharing merits and aspiration recitations.
Okay, by listening to this Dhamma about Pāramī, the merit that we accumulate, we can be shared with our dead relatives, deities, deities, and also may this merit be a helpful cause for our attainment of Nibbana. Dhamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu, idamme punyang Nibbanassa paccayo hotu, ettavata ca amhihi sambhatang punya sampadang, sabbe deva anumodantu, sabbe satta bhuta anumodantu, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhiya. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo, idang vo ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo, idang vo ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo, mama punya bhagaṁ sabba sattānaṁ bhājēmi, te sabbe me samang punya bhagaṁ labantu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu, buddha sāsanam cirantiṭṭhatu, Buddha sāsanam cirantiṭṭhatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantithatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you for the explanation, Bhante Anumodami. May our merits of keeping the precepts, listening to Dhamma, and sharing of merits be strong supporting conditions for our attainment of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bhante, the Dhamma talk session today has ended. If Bhante would like to rest, Bhante is welcome to leave the meeting. Thank you, Bhante. Terima kasih kepada sahabat nama yang telah bergabung dalam Dhamma Talk hari ini. Dengan segala kerendahan hati, kami panitia menyampaikan permohonan maaf jika ada kesalahan atau kekurangan selama Dhamma Talk berlangsung. Sampai jumpa di kebajikan berikutnya. Sukhi Hotu, Namo Buddhaya.